talk to you about the Tour de France again. I have to. And now listen, I have to. I only tell you about the Tour de France not to bore you, because I know you find it boring, and most of the race can be if you're not into the riders, the little machinations of it and the drama that goes on. If you don't care about them, you don't care about them. It's like the Real Housewives of cycling. You know, you don't care. But something very interesting happened today that has not happened in the Tour de France since 1996.
A wreck?
No, wrecks happen all day long.
Oh, okay. Somebody got a flat tire?
That happens all the time.
It rained?
It always rains.
Okay. I'm at a loss then.
Okay, yeah, you are at a loss because this is not your sport. Listen, you should encourage me. I don't care about sports ball at all. This is the one sport that I care about.
If you like sports, then I would like that. If you liked a sport, that would be great.
I do. I like cycling.
That's a recreation. No. That's something you do on the weekends with your friends.
You mean like baseball? Like I was on a baseball team with my friends, like that kind of thing?
Fine. I hate to tell you, more people are going to agree with me. Baseball's more of a sport than riding a bicycle, but you go.
Okay, I'll tell you why you're wrong. Because they ride upwards of 200 miles a day. A day. You can't even ride 20 miles. And these guys are riding at top speed, climbing up mountains and going like as fast as they possibly can for 200 miles a day.
I'm not saying they're not machines. They're machines. Right. I mean, they're athletes. It's not a sport.
It's a sport.
It's something I did when I was 6 years old. Not really a sport.
Okay, so if it wasn't a sport, why was Lance Armstrong's doping scandal such a big thing? Why did Oprah sit down and talk to him? Why did he have to go everywhere and give us an apology? Why do we even know who he is if it's not a sport?
Okay, so every year or in June, we do this. Cooper, it is the best sport in the world. I'm so glad you like it, and I'm so glad you keep us up to date every single day with what's going on in the world of bicycles.
The world of cycling. It's cycling. It's the Tour de France. It's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I am so happy that you love it.
I want to tell you what happened today, and I will make it interesting for you. I promise.
Okay.
You know how there was that whole thing with the NFL when Colin Kaepernick took a knee in protest?
Mm-hmm.
Like, protesting in a sport is a really, really big deal. If you've stopped down your sport to protest something, people take notice. It's important to do. And a lot of players in different teams, they don't feel heard. There's something going on. They want to make a political statement. There's reasons why they do it. What's very interesting today, the riders all decided. Now, these are all different teams. They don't all speak the same language. They're from all over the world. Somehow they were able to organize all these teams, all of these riders to stop riding, just stop and protest by stopping the race for 1 whole minute. They literally stopped riding and they all just stood there.
Protested what?
Well, that's what's interesting. What they were protesting was, and this I didn't realize. So the protest in 1996 was because they used to make them ride without sleep sometimes. Like they would have them ride and then they would travel and go somewhere and then get up and ride the next day. And they weren't getting proper sleeping and eating. And there's no union. So they were like, that's not okay. And that was what that protest was. What this protest was, I didn't know this. When they choose the course for the Tour de France, they don't have a rider or riders go through the course to see if it's a good course or if it's dangerous or not. They have the powers that be that make these deals with all of these different towns.
Mm-hmm.
And money's exchanged, and that's what it's all about. Like, can we afford this? Let's have them go this way. Because the course that was chosen this year was a really dangerous course. A lot of blind turns, roads that are way too thin. We talked about how that one woman, remember we talked about how she stepped out with a sign and as a result, like 40 riders went down. If that road was a big wide road, which it usually is, I mean, a few riders would have gone down, but it wouldn't have been the catastrophe it was. People would not have been out of the Tour de France the first day because of it. So there have been more injuries. There are 21 stages in the Tour de France. Today was stage 4. There have been more injuries and people dropping out in the past 4 days than in the entire tour combined.
Mm.
And the reason is because this course is really dangerous. It's really dangerous. Every time there's a blind turn, every time the road's too thin and there's fans there, and nobody bothered to say to a rider, even one rider to represent all the riders, hey, go through the course and tell me if this is a good course or not.
Mm.
So because a lot of them, these teams start out with, whatever, eight people. A lot of them are down to 5 or 6 people, and their leaders are gone. The captains are gone because they were already injured. Some of the biggest names in cycling right now are already out because this course is so dangerous. So that's what today's protest was about. And I thought it was very interesting.
So they stopped for 1 minute. And it probably wasn't that big of a deal trying to get everybody on the same page. It's just a group text. Hey,
Right, that's true.
we're going to stop for 1 minute to protest the bad roads. And they said, okay.
And I know you don't think it's a big deal, but it was the lead story on TMZ Sports today.
Okay. Up until this point, I didn't know there was a TMZ Sports.
Of course you did.
No, I did not. Why would I? I barely go to TMZ. Why? I never knew there was a TMZ Sports.
Okay, every time we talked about some sports-oriented thing that we got from TMZ, that's where we got it from, TMZ Sports.
Well, they should have put it on there because it's a bicycle race.
Which is a sport. There's teams, people are making money. It's everything that goes into a sport. There's sponsors, there's managers, all that stuff.
Okay. It's a sport, and it's the greatest sport ever.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad you keep us on top of what's going on.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because without you, we would have no idea what's going on because we don't really care. I mean, the minute I go into Facebook or Twitter and I see you putting things on there for this stupid bike race, I go,
yes.
Oh my God. It's gonna be the show tonight is bike race.
Listen, it's not my fault. It's an exciting year.